Hi everyone, this is what we've got for you this evening. Exotic chicken liver pâté. It's got a bit of brandy in it, it's got a bit of cream in it. You can keep some of it in the fridge for a few days or eat it if you like. We're having it with a homemade baguette, a little baguette. Most people eat it with toast. It's going to be absolutely delicious. I'll hand you over.
สวัสดีค่ะเพื่อนๆวันนี้มาทำไก่ตับบดค่ะหรือว่า Chicken Liver Pâté เป็นอาหารว่างก่อนอาหารหลักกลุ่มเพื่อนๆฝรั่งที่มาเขาชอบกินตัวนี้ก่อนแล้วก็ดื่มไปด้วยก่อนที่จะกินอาหารหลักนะคะแล้วก็เหมาะการถนอมรักษาก็ละลายเนยแล้วก็เอาราดไว้ข้างบนแล้วก็เก็บไว้ได้ประมาณ 2-3 วันค่ะ
Right, we've got a nice rich exotic rather special starter for you tonight. Chicken liver pâté with a bit of brandy, nice bit of cream to make it smooth and creamy. We go with chicken livers, which need to be clean. Take the fat off and as many pipes as possible. 500 grams of chicken livers, and pat them dry with a towel once you've prepared them. We use shallots, 3 medium-sized shallots, probably the same as a big onion or a bit more, but shallots have such an interesting flavour compared with onions. So there you go, three shallots there. A couple of cloves of garlic. Nothing tastes right without garlic, in my opinion. We're going to have 4 black olives for decoration purposes, but also because they are so very yummy with pâté. A little bit of rosemary and a bit of thyme. Rosemary is just over half a teaspoon and thyme is just under half a teaspoon. Then we also need 90 grams of butter at room temperature. Half of it gets mixed in and half of it gets added later on. Brandy, most important with liver pâté. Everybody leaves it out because it's expensive, but it makes all the difference. You want 80 milliliters of brandy, preferably not Thai brandy, just because brandy has got a foreign brandy has got a deliciously rich taste, and 60 ml of cream, double cream, whipping cream, that's okay. 60 milliliters of that, and of course the ubiquitous salt and pepper, Himalayan pink salt and fresh grind black pepper corns. Not terribly difficult, is it? So there we are. We'll get ready now. Right, here we go. We're ready now. The wok is hot. We start off by adding half the 90 grams of butter to the wok, but it needs to melt relatively slowly. We don't want anything burning here. That's okay. And as soon as that's melted, keep it moving around so that it doesn't, no bit of it burns or gets overheated. We will then add the garlic and the shallots. And give them a stir around so they're all coated in butter. And we need to be on low heat for this. We fry them slowly on low heat until they're clear. We don't want them to brown. The only other thing we put in at this moment is the rosemary. And mix that around with it, and then slowly turning every so often fry it low heat until the shallots are clear. Those are looking pretty clear now. So next in goes the liver. And the thyme as well. The thyme herb, that is, not the time of day. Sprinkled around over it so it'll diffuse the flavour, and that gets stirred around with the shallots until the liver has turned colour. At the moment is sort of browny pink, purpley. The colour change will be noticeable, but we don't want to cook it until it's brown, or the livers will go very hard, which makes it difficult turning it into pâté. So carry on this like this for a minute or two, slow, turning every so often until the livers have changed colour. This is looking much better, as most of it's nearly the right colour, but they still feel a bit soft, and they've just got to be a bit firmer, not hard, but a bit firmer. There we go, that's looking good. Hardly any pink left. So now, we're not quite finished here. We add the brandy. Oh, the lovely aroma of brandy, I love it. And half of the cream, half of the 60ml, just poured over so it all cooks together. Leave the rest of the cream for the blending and stir it around. And then we will leave this to simmer very slowly. We'll turn the gas down a little bit. It needs to cook unbelievably slowly, with as much of the kidney under the liquid as possible. Just simmer for about 3 minutes. There we are. That's been simmering for 3 minutes. It looks all right. It feels still a bit soft, which is good for the blender. So we take it off the heat now and leave it to cool for about 10 minutes. Okay, we've let it cool for 10 to 15 minutes, and the smell has filled the house, and so we've been joined by a little person here who obviously thinks that chicken liver pâté is definitely worth a taste. So we're going to get rid of her and then transfer the liver mixture into a bowl where we can process it. We've got a nice big glass, like a Pyrex mixing bowl. So we need to squeegee everything out of there and run it into the bowl. Because when you process it, we're going to use a stick blender. When you process it, it needs a little bit of space. So we then get our stick blender and we begin to blend it slowly, of course, so that it doesn't create too much fuss. And once it's started turning into a bit of a paste, we'll be able to move a bit further. Okay, as you see, we've successfully managed to liquidize all the beginnings of the liver. So now we need a bit more liquid. So we will now add the cream. I'll hold this. We'll add the cream and the rest of the butter, which is sitting, waiting. And pop that in as well. looks absolutely perfect, and we'll give just that little bit more liquid so we can gently move it around. It's tempting to just put your finger on the button and zzz at top speed, but that doesn't work. It's better to do it in bit by bit, and sooner rather than later, you will find you have a nice smooth mixture. So keep going like this, and every so often use your squeegee, what do they call it, spatula. Use your spatula to get everything off the edge into the middle, and keep going until it's all beautifully combined. Okay, look, we've got that, it's pretty smooth now here, as you can see. So we've had a quick taste, and it definitely needs salt and pepper. So we're adding a guesswork of salt and pepper. And then we'll give it another whisk round. It's impossible to get it completely smooth, that's industrial. So we'll do that and give it a whirl round now, and see how that comes out. Okay, we've reached a nice smooth consistency. So we're taking the stick blender out and cleaning it all off, and getting ready to transfer it into our little bowls as the final movement. Okay, now we're going to transfer this into a couple of, or 2 or 3 containers. We've forgotten to get cling film, so we'll be covering it with silver paper, and they go in the fridge to firm up, to solidify and become firm, and you make them smooth on the top, and get them to be level, and then put them in the fridge and wait until they have cooled enough to have got a solid consistency. There we are, that's made 3 nice little dishes. The olives have been pressed into the top on 2 of them. The third one is a dish for people who don't like olives. Simple as that. Now we're going to chill them before we bring them out for final testing. Right, here are 3 little containers which have chilled and gone, as you can see, gone quite they've solidified. So now one of them we're going to eat tonight, and the other 2 we're going to keep for a few days. So we cover those with clarified butter. Clarified butter is basically melted butter, where when you melt butter, it separates into 3 layers. A top layer of sort of a bit yucky, and the middle layer is the clear clarified butter, and the bottom layer is the solids that you don't really want. So we've taken the top off. The solids are at the bottom, so now we're just putting the middle section, the clear liquid butter, to cover it, because then it will protect it while it will stop it from going bad, and we can keep that for a few days in the fridge. So there's the final product. We've got one that we're going to eat this evening, and the other 2 have been covered with clarified butter, and we've cooled them, and they're going to go in the fridge. We're having them with a homemade baguette, which we've got. So we dig out a bit of pâté to go with it, and the chef is going to taste it. We've tasted it, of course, but this is the final product, and here we go. Alright, mate.
อร่อยมากค่ะ
There we go. Enjoy it and have a good evening, but don't eat too much, it's very rich.